So with all my studies that I did, I had to really dig down into spirit and say, what is the first step in the human ascension process? And I heard the term, the phrase, I am awake. The first step of the human evolution and to remembering your own divinity is to wake up. It is to stand in your own power and say, I am awake. Now, if that at all sounds like an easy step, it is most assuredly not. So what I did to come up with this term was I studied the traditions of Mary Magdalene, the chakra system that they talk about in the Vedas, alchemy, metaphysics, and Buddhism. And these steps across the board correspond to the planetary cycle, to the chakra systems of starting at a base level. So if you think about how we are born into human bodies, the first phase that we have to go through is that birth. When we wake up, when we open our eyes for the first time and recognize who and what we are. So it is a very massive step to say, I am not this physical body. What I have been told my whole life is it's not the only reality out there. And coming to terms with that, shedding that skin, that illusion that we are taught from the moment we learn to talk. We are taught that we are this physical body, that we have to work, that we have to, get married, we have to have kids, ... And if we don't do those things, there's something wrong with us. But the truth is we are so much more than that. And as soon as you say, I am ready, I'm awake, then you are already moving through the steps of the process of the first step. So these are the 5 different elements that we looked at for this course. I took all of these different teachings together. I mean, the similarities were so evident, right? Every step on these different ancient traditions that have millions of people who have followed them and learned from them and grown from them. The first step is waking up. It's waking up to the fact that what we have been doing it might not be the best way to grow as a soul. What we have been doing has not cultivated our soul growth. We might be successful in business, we might be successful in love, but do we still have those feelings of loneliness and isolation? Do we still feel disconnected from the world? Do we still have bouts of depression? Well, then we haven't fully honored this step in our evolutionary cycle. And you can get to a master level and still have to deal with the dross, as they call it in alchemy. But you recognize it for what it is. Because you've honored it, you'll be able to recognize this process faster, so you don't come back down to this step for quite as long. You come down and maybe you're depressed and you're upset for a moment. You honor that feeling. You remember you are awake. And then you can move back up. You can pull your soul out of the material and ego world. So this first step is very much about opening the veil or cracking through this surface of what we have been told is reality. Not hard, right? You have to know who and what you are. You have to know what it is you're thinking. You have to be aware that what you think and what you say and what you do are your choice. There's something that you are controlling to the point where you have to take responsibility for those. You have to honor those things and be aware that there is more to life than what you can see with your five senses. Be open to more, be open to change. Accept that what you have been taught might not be the reality. So how do we do this? Now, I have many different exercises that have popped up when I was researching this for how to honor step one, how to practice being awake. The first step is the physical awakening. Because step one is very much rooted in our physical base needs, right? So the chakra system is earth. Alchemy is fire. This is all movement. This is all our honoring our vessel. So physical exercise is a huge portion of honoring the vessel. Awakening is definitely not as clear cut as the physical awakening is. So to physically awaken for this base level, we need to be active. We are not meant to be sedentary creatures. We need to do something to get the blood and the energy flowing in the body. For the emotions, for the mind, this is where we need to have a serious come to Jesus with ourselves. This is where we need to crush our ego. We have to be utterly truthful with ourselves in all situations of our lives and all of our relationships at work. We need to learn to recognize when we are lying to ourselves. We need to learn to recognize when the ego is talking and not our true selves. We need to do this in order to awaken that element of our systems. This is something you can go multiple lifetimes trying to do, to break through that self-deception. You're trying to break through these defense mechanisms, the bigotry, the lies that we tell ourselves in order to fit into societies, which has its purpose, but those societies, that bigotry, that's us versus them, elitism, ethnocentrism, these things are not real. And we have to be honest with ourselves when we are doing them. And it is so challenging to do, an incredibly humbling step. So the spiritual awakening, compared to crushing the ego, is a lot more comfortable. God, it's a lot more comfortable for spiritual seekers. Physical awakening, honoring that side of you, if you're not physically active, can feel very challenging. Being psychologically awake, it makes my heart race just to talk about those questions, because I know there's something to them. I know I have done things that have hurt other people. I've made decisions that have hurt other people. I have absolutely been humiliated. I'm going to honor those things in order to get to the juicy stuff, which is the spiritual awakening, which is our wheelhouse, right? So spiritual awakening is all about tapping into the flow of spirituality. Now, that's leaving the physical body behind, however temporarily, and connecting into what is real, connecting into earth, connecting into the cosmos, connecting to God. This is prayer, this is mantras, this is meditation. So the spiritual awakening method that I really liked, because it honored a couple different elements of the spiritual step one, was to meditate on the awakening process. So meditating on the darkness, the chakra, the root chakra inside of us, and focusing on that chakra using breath, which brings in that fire, not fast breath, just focusing, being mindful of your breath while focusing on the color red, that chakra system, that red color at the base of your system. And just focusing on your breath in and out.